Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with the new Ruger RXM. Now there's been a lot of chatter on the internet about this handgun. I've had this thing since launch, and I've kind of watched what the other folks have said about it, the reviews, and I've read some of the comments that folks have made about the pistol, and we'll address some of that stuff in today's video. But the handgun is in essence a Ruger clone, if you will, of a Gen 3 Glock. And why the Gen 3 Glock? Well, apparently patents have expired, and the Gen 3 is on the approved roster in California. Now, I don't know if that means that the Ruger automatically is. I kind of doubt that. But the Gen 3 is probably going to stay in production for a while. And a lot of the companies out there making guns based on the Glock design are borrowing from the Gen 3 design. So this is no different. What's interesting about this, though, is it's pretty markedly less expensive than a brand new Glock 19, which would be what this gun is kind of copying. So it has a budget to it that is going to be attractive to people. But how is the quality and how does the gun work? And we'll talk about that in today's video. Also, you'll notice on top of the pistol, have the new RCR from Chijicon. And we'll talk a little bit about that in today's video. I'm a big fan of the enclosed red dot sights like this, so I love to see more companies bringing them out. Let's fire off a few rounds. We have some Federal 115 grain ball. This is American Eagle stuff, and they do supply the ammunition free of charge to the channel, but we love Federal. I've been shooting their ammo since I was a kid, and just a great company, great ammunition. First 10 rounds for today's video. Nice shooting pistol. Feels an awful lot like a Glock. Strange. Let's take a closer look. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. So the Ruger RXM, what makes it unique, interesting? Well, let's get that out of the way first. So the handgun is obviously very affordable. I mentioned that in the opening of the video. Now, YouTube moderators, I'm not telling people where to buy the gun or what exact price is out there. They'll strike my channel and take this video down. What I'm saying is I have seen them somewhere out there for less than $350. So that makes the price very competitive when you're comparing it to the actual Glock, right? So the Glock's going to cost a little bit more. Now, some of you are going to say, well, but the Glock is the better, it's been around for longer, whatever. Fine. I'm just telling you that this comes at a more attractive price point, which to a lot of Americans right now is a factor, especially in today's economy. So we have that really attractive price. Secondly, it's a collaborative effort between Magpul and Ruger. So Magpul has made the polymer, lower that you see here, and then Ruger makes the rest of the firearm. So you have two big names backing this product. So that's attractive. Great price, two great names. And then the real ringer for this thing is the FCI, or the fire control insert, the modular trigger, if you will. This gun, you can take the serialized trigger group out of it. Think of it like a SIG P320, a popular modular trigger firearm that's out there. No special tools required. Take your trigger group out and drop it into a different grip frame supplied by Magpul. I found this on the Magpul website. And so it's just a polymer frame. I think they're like, they're less than 40 bucks. But then you can get whatever color you want. At the time when I got this one, there was only black, but now I've seen flat dark earth and I think Ranger green is available. And you'll notice that it's just polymer. There's no metal parts in it. That's because your FCI will drop straight into here and you can reassemble the gun. Love to show you how to do it, but I don't want that strike from the YouTube moderators. If you're curious on how to take the FCI out of here, which is, again, super simple, go find a video out there for somebody who doesn't care about those strikes, because I'm tired of dealing with the YouTube moderators taking my videos down. Not going to do that again. If I can avoid it, until they change the rules next week. All right, so enough complaining. Also, it's interesting to note that other companies out there are making lowers for Glock-type firearms. One of those companies is Strike Arms. And so here's a Strike Arms lower. Now, this one has a lot of cool things done to it. Different texture. This does not accept your FCI. This one has a trigger mechanism already in it. But this is exclusively available. I got this through PA. That's exclusively available through them. I'm not going to go into the pricing or anything. But these are one of those modifications that you can quickly make to your Ruger RXM. Take the frame off, take your strike arms, which is compatible with, get on there, which is compatible with Gen 3 Glock 19s, and boom, you have a much higher cut underneath the trigger guard here. You have, great texturing, 1913 rail, great texturing back here. It's really a nice fire control. Well, it's not fire control. It's a lower and doesn't use the FCI, but it just feels better to me. I like that really deep cut underneath the trigger guard and how it sets in my hands. So I'm actually going to leave the strike arms lower on it, but I did want to show you the original lower with its FCI in it. Now, these, of course, do use Glock magazines, but this is a Magpul magazine that comes with the RXM. RXM, real quickly, will come in a box like this. It's a nice little box. You have your swag and your lock and all the other stuff that it comes with. 2 magazines, and yeah, I don't think it's airline approved, but it's something to get you to and from the range. Talk about a few of the features of this bad boy. So it's a Glock, guys. I'm not going to go into super great detail. It does not have any ambi controls on it, so you don't have an ambi mag or a slide stop slide release over here. It has just a standard Glock style mag release. Depending on what lower you use, you can reverse the mag catch if you want to. But this gun does have slide serrations that are cut very nicely. It has forward serrations on it. It has metal sights out of the box, and these are higher profile sights. And of course, this one is cut for a red dot sight. It's a direct mount. It'll work with RMRs, Delta Point Pros, and things like that. So it's compatible with most of the popular red dot sights that are out there. Now, this one has no tritium, but a serrated rear sight. And then up front, we have a high-vis front sight on it. And again, it's nice and tall. And so even with this little RCR on here, I can do, it's lower third, but I can co-witness through it. But depending on which optic you put on here, these sights will allow you to co-witness through there. Now, it's just a nitride finish to the metal components on top. You will see that there is a loaded chamber indicator, which is nothing more than a hole through the top of the barrel there, the hood of the barrel. Taking it apart, very simple. Make sure it's empty, decock it, point it in safe direction when you do that. Take the takedown bar. I'm not going to go into great detail. It's just a Glock. And then this is all the Ruger components captured, recoil spring, and your barrel. Now, just how compatible is it with a Glock 19? I'm glad you asked. So here's the Glock lower. Here's the Ruger. So that's the Ruger frame, the Ruger FCI in there, and a Gen 3 Glock slide and barrel on top. So yes, it is compatible with Glock parts. All right. Glock magazines. This is an actual Glock magazine. Locks in and works. Whoops. As I drop it, locks in and works just fine. All right. The overall fit and finish of the gun is nice. It looks good. I've had no issues with it. And it's, of course, because it's a Glock-ish, it's very easy to maintain and shoot. Get on your perch there. And like I said, I'm going to use the strike arms lower just because I like it. So, overall, great price, great companies behind it, and lots of aftermarket support. What's not to like? I'm sure I'll hear about that in the comments section. Let's quickly talk about the trigger on the RXM. Make sure the weapon's empty. When I start to pull the trigger, it feels very plasticky like a Glock trigger. A little creepy. And then it breaks. So it's kind of a little bit of a rolling break, more like a P320. I don't really hit a shelf. It just kind of rolls right past the break. A little bit of over travel. That's reset right there, and that's full release. Again, kind of creep. Yeah, that rolling break. So we'll get a trigger pull weight on it. That rolling break, when you pull a little bit faster, not so slowly, it's not as stagey and gritty. It just kind of flows right into a break. And that style of trigger is something I actually like. It's one of the features of the P320 I've actually gotten pretty used to, and the P365 I kind of like. So, yeah, kind of different, but still pretty good trigger. This is the Magpul magazine that we have here. 15 rounds of Federal loaded into it. mags drop free. This is an actual Glock magazine. And magazines drop free just fine. So when you're shooting this thing, if you're familiar with the Glock, it really feels no different. Now, of course, with the strike arms lower on it, the ergonomics, in my opinion, are far improved over the standard Glock lower, or even the standard Glock, or I'm sorry, the standard Ruger RXM lower. But the gun shoots very, very well. So there's really going to be no surprises. The trigger is very familiar to you. Ergonomics will be very familiar to you with the Magpul lower on it. It's just overall a really nicely made gun that shoots just like a Glock. So if that's what you're looking for, you know, check it out. It's a very interesting little handgun for sure. Yeah, so RXM, do I like it? I do. Do I recommend it? Sure, if you're looking for a gun that's other than a Glock and you're on a budget, you might want to check it out. Or if you just want a modular trigger, you know, this RXM kind of brings that to the table. So it's a very interesting gun. I will also mention that on the Glocks, the one thing that I don't like about the current generation of Glocks is the MOS mounting system. It's pure garbage in my experience. I just absolutely hate it. The mounting system on this, in my opinion, is superior. Now, Glock does have a new collaborative effort with Aimpoint, which is really cool, but you're not going to put that on here right now because I think they have an exclusive for a year or so. But it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. I did get to see that at SHOT Show 2025. But I digress. RXM, great price, great companies backing it, shoots great, quality is certainly there. So it is a viable option out there for those of you that are looking for a handgun for defensive carry, for just fun shooting, competition, whatever. Because it's so modular, the fact that it's going to be such wide support for it, because it's going to use all the Glock parts, then whatever people come up with just for this. And there probably will be those companies. It is Ruger and Magpul, after all, that brought it to market, two extremely big names in the industry. So I do expect to see further support for the firearm going down the road. If you guys have any questions about the RXM, you can ask those questions down below. Do try to stick around for the first couple of days after a video goes live to answer any of the questions you guys may have. If you would like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel so we can continue to bring you content like this, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. We post videos early over there. You get direct access to me, other perks like that. So please follow the link in the video description below. Right here on YouTube, the thanks and support button underneath the video player you're watching right now, mash either one of them. Support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Swing by, check out Copper Custom. Thank you for 17 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon.